A very good morning everyone from NATO Days and Czech Air Force Days 2025. I'm Ben Dunnell. You join me on a beautiful morning here at Ostrava Leoš Janáček Airport in the Czech Republic, or Czechia, where this has become the country's premier aviation event. And what an occasion this is. Not just an air show, but also a wider defence and security show with ground and air displays over the course of more than 8 hours. This is a short 20-minute highlights version of our coverage from the show. If you want the full affair, then go to Plains TV's streaming service. Well, as the ceremonial unit of the Castle Guard continues to go through its parade, our attention also turns to the skies for the official opening flypast of NATO Days and Czech Air Force Days 2025. And the first element flying through represents the Czech Air Force Rotary Wing Force, led by a MIL My-171S, flanked by the two latest types in Czech Air Force service, the Bell AH-1Z Viper and UH-1Y Venom. All of them from the 22nd Helicopter Base, and this the NATO Days premiere for the Viper and Venom in Czech service. Following behind, an Airbus C295 transport, flanked by a pair of Saab JAS-39 Gripen fighters. The C295 from the 24th Transport Base at Prague-Kbely. The Gripens from the 211th Tactical Squadron at Čáslav. Then also stationed at Čáslav with the 212th Tactical Squadron, a trio of Aero Vodokody L-159 Alka Advanced Light Combat Aircraft. Now we have a very rare item indeed, and we're going to hand over to their commentator for the Eurocopter Tiger.
Please direct your attention to the display line. Next up will be the German Army Eurocopter Tiger, the Kampfhubschrauber Tiger. The Czech Helicopter Tiger is a joint European development and has been in service with the German Armed Forces since 2005. As the Tiger made its last flyby and waved goodbye, thank you very much for your attention and have a fantastic day with all the displays coming up. Thank you.
Well, wasn't that a very spirited display indeed from the German Army Eurocopter Tiger? Well, our expectation is for an international premiere here at NATO Days 2025 with Slovakia's new fighters. It was in 2022 that the last MiG-29s were retired by Slovakia, but now Slovakia has a fast jet fighter fleet of its own once again. And here's one of them from the 1st Fighter Squadron stationed at Malacky. Fourteen of these aircraft have been ordered by Slovakia, and pilots have been training in the United States. The fleet due to be completed with delivery of the remaining 6 aircraft in 2026. Our next air display item is getting airborne. Krila Oluje, Wings of Storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, right in front of you, Krila Oluje took off in Delta 6 formation, and now they will start their display. Ahead of you, Krila Oluje are preparing for their first maneuver today, loop in Delta 6 formation. After passing the peak of the loop, the team will turn to the left to prepare for their next maneuver. Team leader number 3 and number 4 are approaching in line abreast formation while preparing to perform a formation tail slide. Krila Oluje is the only official team in the world to perform this demanding maneuver in very tight formation. As they climb vertically, they will lose speed, stop for a moment, and then start to fall backwards. Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention to your left side where you can see Krila Oluje in Delta 5 formation preparing to perform their inverted Delta 5. In no more than few seconds the group will go inverted with half rolls and continue to fly with inverted Delta 5 formation. From your left side, Krila Oluje in inverted Delta 5 formation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We hope that today's display fulfilled your expectations. Best regards from myself and the Wings of Storm display team. Farewell.
A great display from Krila Oluje, reaffirming their status as a highly polished aerobatic team on their PC-9Ms, while we bring Krila Oluje into land. I'm sure many of you watching will be very pleased indeed to know that special Saturday only item in the show, the US Air Force B-52H Stratofortress, is in the vicinity of Ostrava, the aircraft operating out of RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire today. And the first time for a long while that we've had a B-52 in the NATO Days flying display. We can go back now to the main flying displays and our Italian section.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here. The Spartan C-27J, which barely needs an introduction. Well, its performance speaks loud and clear. A perfect mix of power, aerodynamics, structural strength, and advanced system. It is not only a transport aircraft, it's a machine capable of pulling off maneuvers you would never expect from its class. Barrel rolls, tight turns, high G climbs, even a full loop. Well, the Spartan does it all.
Ladies and gentlemen, aviation lovers, good morning! I'm Lieutenant Nicolo Parco, call sign Nabo, AV-8B pilot. On behalf of the Italian Navy and its naval aviation, I welcome you to the iconic AV-8B Harrier demo. representing the AV-8B Harrier is Commander Fabio Buganet, call sign Booger. He's been a Harrier pilot for over 25 years and has flown almost 3,000 hours on the AV-8B. Since 1991, Group Air has been the backbone fighter unit of the Italian Fleet Air Arm, supporting the fleet with the Harrier from NAS Grottaglie located in southern Italy, but also and especially from the Italian aircraft carriers, Garibaldi, our first combat proven deck which is now gloriously retired, and ETS Cavour that represent today Italy's air power projection capability and has just been recently deployed to the Indo-Pacific theater.
Now though, the forces are massing for our next set piece of the afternoon, and it's a really interesting one, incorporating as it does the two newest helicopter types in service with the Czech Air Force. And first of all, they're sending a reconnaissance vehicle with information warfare specialists on board. But it seems as if the situation has escalated and that the ground forces commander is having to launch an all-arms attack.
Right now we can see the attack helicopter, the Zulu, taking the attack profile to deliver some guided ammunition down into the battlefield to destroy the enemy. Now we can see explosions of the rockets hitting the ground and destroying the enemy.
There's still a threat in the area from the enemy ground forces, and so the ground commander has called in a platoon of heavy brigade combat forces, and they're deploying into an assault formation, laying a smoke screen as they go and opening fire. And you can see them moving forward towards the enemy positions. But it appears as if one of the Czech soldiers has himself been injured during the attack, and so the infantry element commander is now sending in a first aid specialist, a combat lifesaver. And so now the unit commander has called for air evacuation. Well, that was a really good capability demonstration and a really nice first chance to see these two types being properly demonstrated at NATO Days. But as you can see now, taking the runway, the Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows, and of course the man who's going to take you through their display, Squadron Leader Graham Muscat.
Once again, Red 1 pulls up at over 600 kilometers an hour. The expertise of the pilots maintaining formation. Now they change shape from swan to shuttle. Reaching a height of over 2,000 meters, the aircraft slow down to approximately 150 kilometers an hour before then accelerating back to 600 kilometers an hour and twisting them around to the left. Number 5, go, he rolls around the smoke in the twister. Number 5 behind red one is On behalf of Royal Air Force and the Red Arrows, hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
The next of the national display teams today, the Turkish Air Force aerobatic team, the Türk Yıldızları, the Turkish Stars.
They start pitching up, and as you see, 6 aircraft as followed by the same hand, 6 individuals flying as if with a single mind are rolling as they are tied to each other. Dalgalan sen de şafaklar gibi ey şanlı hilal, hakka tapan milletimin istiklali. Touch! You have watched the Turkish Stars.
The Turkish Stars spreading colour across the Ostrava skies. And what a display aircraft from the French Air and Space Force, the Armée de l'Air et de l'Espace. This is the magnificent Dassault Rafale C. And the pilot for this season, in the second of his 2 years flying what's known as the RSD, the Rafale Solo Display, is Capitaine Jean-Brice Millet, known as Mimus. This is a display that's got something going on all the time. The aircraft is constantly rolling and pitching. It's one of the most exciting fast jet displays on the circuit today, and a tremendous illustration of the capabilities of this so-called omni-roll fighter, which has replaced 7 different prior platforms in all across the French Air Force and Navy. Ready to roll then, the final display act of this tremendous show, the Eurofighter EF2000 of the German Luftwaffe. Display this weekend coming from Taktisches Luftwaffengeschwader, or Tactical Air Force Wing 31, stationed at Nervenich. That's one of 4 Luftwaffe wings operating the EF2000. This has been another superb edition of NATO Days and Czech Air Force Days. It's always especially fascinating to come to this event and see aircraft that have been so engaged recently in real-world NATO missions, particularly with the situation further east in Europe at present. If you want to see even more of the action from NATO Days, don't forget there's a full feature-length programme on Plains TV's streaming service.